Coach.
Hey.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, brother.
Kind of off the beaten path question, but with all the jobs open right now, are you feeling a little bit more optimistic for Black coaches than perhaps you have in the previous year? Hard to say. Cautiously optimistic.
No, I think there's. I hadn't thought about it just because I've been so locked in on the game, but I do feel like there's so many worthy candidates. You know, Willie Green is a guy that's talking to teams as we speak. Darvin, Sam Cassell, Chauncey. You know, these are guys that when I watch them and I talk to them and I think about where I was when I was in their position, they're so far ahead of me. I'm like, wow, these guys deserve a shot. And I've had 2 jobs, you know, so that every chance I get, I try to promote those guys. And if I can be of assistance to them when they're going through the process, I hope to be. And so from that standpoint, yeah, I am, just because I know where I was at that stage, where they are. And I think about how smart Willie and Chauncey and Darvin, Sam, it's pretty cool to see those guys getting the mentions that they're getting, and people are looking out for them in that regard. I hope they get their shot.
And also, do you think your success helps? And do you feel any pressure at all in that regard?
I don't feel pressure. I do feel a responsibility to work hard and to keep myself in a position of professionalism, because I do think Nate McMillan and Doc Rivers did that for me. Coach Pop, when I had a chance to go to different teams and I was in San Antonio, he and my wife at the time, they absolutely pushed me to go to Portland so I could work under Nate, because he had so much respect for Nate. So I got a chance to see it every day with him. And Nate taught me how to approach the job in a way that I hadn't seen before. And so I feel a responsibility to do the same thing for other coaches, not just African Americans, but Hispanic coaches. I've had James Borrego on our staff, Darko Rajkovic, who's from Serbia, you know, different guys like that who may not get the shine that a lot of other coaches do.
Next 3 questions are going to be Kellen Olson, Dwayne Rankin, and Mark Medina.
Hey, Monty, good to see you. We've asked you a lot about playing Devin at the point the last 2 years, and Chris today.
Yeah.
What do you like about that specific look at running the offense?
Well, we do it from time to time, mostly at the end of quarters. I like it because it gives him a chance to see the floor from the top. A lot of times when he's playing, he's seeing it from the basket view out, and it gives him more time to make adjustments on the fly, because when teams blitz him or they switch, when he has the ball from the beginning, he has more time to adjust. And he's, you know, our best scorer, one of our best facilitators. He's doesn't get enough credit for how well he passes the ball. His passes are on time, on target. So, you know, because of the situation we're in, you know, he could be in that position a lot during the series.
Coach, I just wanted to ask just about not having Chris out there and how that changes and adjustments that you feel like you guys are going to have to make.
Yeah, I mean, I may have to manage play calls a little bit more than normal, but we've been in this situation a few times, not a ton, but Chris has talked to Cam a lot. I talked to Chris last night, and he said, Coach, I've been talking to Cam and just trying to, you know, give him some keys, that kind of thing. So you can't fill Chris's shoes. And we're not going to sit here and boo-hoo. I mean, they're without Kawhi and Serge. You know what I'm saying? So we don't feel like, you know, we should be crying about where we are. It is what it is. But it's going to take a team effort to make up for all of the intangibles and the skill and competitive nature that Chris brings to the table every night.
It was going to be Craig Fouie with ABC 15, followed by Young Masook.
Hey, Coach, I'm just curious, what's the confidence level right now of this team, given all that's going on and where you're at? How are they feeling going into game 1?
Craig, we're always a confident group. You know, we feel like we've earned the right to be here. we've also have a great deal of respect for our opponent. And when you have that much respect for an opponent, you better have confidence. So that's where we are. We feel good about the week of practice and preparation that we had, and our guys are ready to go. There's nothing else that needs to be said. We've been talking all week long. It's time to go hoop.
Next up is going to be Mark Medina with USA Today, followed by Young Masuk.
Hey, Monty, good to see you. On that note about press, I mean, obviously he means so much to you and the guys, but what do you think it took throughout the season for you guys to be ready during this postseason to be able to adapt with that?
I think the season in general posed so many obstacles in different situations. COVID, the testing, we get tested at 10, 11 o'clock at night sometimes. It has forced you to adjust your days, different guys being out with injuries, different guys being out with COVID. It forces coaches to manipulate scheduling and practices and that kind of thing. So I think guys are used to it just because of the season we've had. I've said this a number of times to our local media. Our guys haven't complained one time, at least not to me. They've just gone about their business. We always say basketball in the NBA is a get to, not a got to. And we're privileged to play and do what we do. So I think that's served us well.
Monty, you've seen some of Paul George's best games this season, but I'm wondering what have you seen in him in the last 2 games with Kawhi out in the playoffs compared to what you saw of him during the regular season?
Well, I mean, he's certainly worthy of all the attention he's getting because he's been dominant, and then he's been able to take a step back and let somebody else be dominant. That's a sign of a mature player. He hasn't tried to inject himself into the game. He's always had a high level of skill. And, I coach Paul on the USA team, so you get to see those guys every day and the work they put in. And so you just see that work on the floor. His handle is tighter than I've ever seen it. His ability to keep his handle tight and get his shots off is better than most 6'7", 6'8" guys in the league.
Next is Steve Ashburner with NBA.com, followed by Gina Mizell.
Hi, Monty. I'm curious, of all the attributes and qualities your team could have at this stage of the postseason, where would you rank experience in the playoffs? And what can you do if you don't have as much of that as you might like?
I mean, if I were ranking it, we were probably in last place. That's just the way it is. I can't lie about that. We can't change it because we're just young. So we don't talk about it. We just go out and hoop. Everybody else talks about it. I can't. It's just life. You can't make your teeth grow any faster, right? Like they're going to grow at the rate they're going to grow. And we're just going to go out and hoop and we'll get experience as we go along. That's just been our MO throughout this season.
Next up is Gina Mizell with Suns.com, and then Kirsten Suso.
Hey, Marty, just when you look at the overall series, just what do you feel like are the biggest keys in this one, and maybe what's going to show you in those first few minutes of today that, like, okay, we're locked in on those things that we need to make sure that we're going to win the series?
I mean, there's so many things you have to do to have success against this team. You got to be able to guard the ball. You certainly have to rebound. They have guys who are physical and that kind of thing. You're always dealing with the switches with them, but most teams do that. But for me, it's just the mental poise throughout the series, the ability to just stay the course. We've had challenges all season long. The Lakers series, we had it. Our guys were able to regroup. The Denver series, same thing. So there's been some chippiness with this team. And I think our guys are looking forward to competing against them. But I think we've been through enough to know we want to win the game and not the argument.
Next is going to be Kirsten Suso with 12 News, followed by Anthony Slater.
Hey, Monty, in light of Father's Day, aside from being one to your own kids, I'm sure that you have been a father figure to many guys throughout your coaching career. What does the blessing of being able to be a father mean to you?
I mean, for me, it's my greatest responsibility and my greatest gift, to father my children. I have kids in all stages of life right now, adults, college kids, middle school, high school, elementary school, and I'm blessed to not only be their dad, but journey with them. And my greatest joy is to be there for my children in every area of their lives. And my kids in particular have been through so much. If anytime I can provide them direction and joy, it just makes my day, makes my life worthwhile. All 6 of my kids are all different. And like I said, they're in all stages of life and they're all in my pocket. And so that's a blessing for me. And I'm just grateful that they allow me to father them and give them direction.
Final 3 questions are going to be Anthony Slater with The Athletic, followed by Nicole Jarina.
Yeah, Mark, teams across the league obviously are increasingly going small, but what about them and your scouting and even playing them a little bit this season small makes them so effective in the way that they do?
Well, they're shot making off the dribble. That's the only way you can effectively stay small. You got to be able to knock down shots off the dribble, because at some point you're going to end up in a switch rotation, and they're one of the best. I mean, there's certain teams that have 1 or 2 guys. Steph can do it, Dame can do it, CJ can do it, but this team has multiple guys that can get shots off the dribble. So you got to be able to guard without fouling when they get into that environment.
Final 2 questions are going to be Nicole Jarina from Puerto Rico and Dan Woike.
Hi, Coach. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As you say before, the goal is more bigger than the conference finals, but how much pride you feel for your players and team members that made history for the franchise, for be the first Suns team to make the playoffs in 2010 and also made the conference final?
Well, I haven't had a lot of time to process all that because we've been just locked in on pounding the rock. But, you can feel it in our fan base at the games. I'm happy for our guys that get a chance to be a part of this. And then I have to turn the page and get my shovel out and start digging for more. But it's a natural human emotion to be happy. And then for me, it's like, okay, I got to turn the page and get rid of that, and let's move forward and get more. So we want to keep pushing and give this city and this organization even more to be happy about.
Final question is Dan Woike with the LA Times.
Hey, Mike. You touched on this a little bit to Anthony's question, but when a team does go small, what does that do mentally to a player like DeAndre? What kind of decisions does he need to make? And how important is it for you guys to stay in sort of what you want to do versus sort of reacting?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to ask him. I can't tell you what he's thinking. I can tell you what we try to get him to see in the environments we try to keep him out of. When you go small, if you have a bigger guy on the floor, you could end up in rotations. Well, most bigs aren't used to being in rotations. So if you watch the Utah series, Rudy was trying to cover up a lot. That's something you want to avoid. That's not something we're going to just, try to keep secret. And so that's not just for him, it's a team thing. How can we keep DA, Dario, Frank, if needed, out of those kinds of rotations? Because you always want to keep your best rebounder at the rim, best shot blocker at the rim. And so that's going to be a challenge for us, but we feel like we can do it.